for Dads in the Six, I'm Nicholas Mazzeo.
And I'm Jamie Campbell. So today I went on an emotional roller coaster with a Twitter post.
As one does, I think.
This tweet got 164,000 retweets and 530,000 likes.
Okay.
I found this tweet. I follow Felicia Day, internet celebrity. And she had liked or retweeted and commented on it something like, and this is why I can't quit social media.
Right.
Because the story was just, I was a part of this story. And it's a series of maybe 20 tweets. This guy's telling a story over a 2-day period. And I was in bed last night at probably about 12:30. And I was reading it, and I was scared I was going to wake up Vanessa. This may not.
You were laughing?
I was laughing. Maybe you won't laugh. Maybe this is a total dud. But we're just gonna read. I'm just literally gonna read these tweets. So this is a guy named Zach Toscani.
Is he verified? Is he a real person?
No, he's. I think he's just a comedian. Has like 43,000 followers.
Okay.
I think last night when I checked, that was a little bit less. I think this story blew up and people followed him. And he works a normal job apparently because the story is about an office workplace incident, which I don't have a lot of experience with. I've never worked in an office really much.
Yeah.
I did Rogers for a bit, and you're in a
Sort
call
of
center,
different.
so you're not getting up
Yeah.
and talking water cooler.
I do.
talk.
I work at an office.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on that, maybe see if you had any experience with this.
Okay.
So again, this is at Zach Toscani. So his first tweet was at 4 p.m. near the end of the workday on the 29th.
Okay. So
Yeah.
recent.
2 days ago.
Yeah. As of this recording.
Yeah, and then his follow-up date was on Good Friday. I think he works for a post-production company, I think he said. So they were working on Good Friday. So anyways, the very first tweet. Coworker got his lunch stolen, and they've agreed to let him watch the security camera tape. This is the most excited I've ever been at any job ever. Next tweet. The lunch in question was a shrimp fried rice, which means this escalates from a misdemeanor to a felony, no doubt. Tweet 3. Case facts. Lunch was in fridge for less than an hour before it vanished. No shrimp smell remnants in the microwave or kitchen area. This was a professional hit, no doubt. Tweet 4.
Okay.
Holy shit, in all capitals. He's back. He watched the tape. He knows who did it. Tweet 5.
I'm kind of enthralled as well now.
Yeah, see, I'm only on tweet 5. Tweet 5. So the man whose lunch was stolen sits across from me. The person who stole his lunch sits right next to me, all in caps. She left for the day before the investigation started. Tweet 6. According to the video, this psychopath, capitals, didn't even eat the food. She took it out of the fridge and threw it, buried it in the trash.
What?
Tweet 7. Her motives remain completely unknown. In lieu of what he saw on the tape, he has decided not to press the matter anymore. I can't say I blame him. We don't know what this woman is fully capable of.
There's more to the story. He's not telling us.
Tweet 8. Points to clarify. He bought the shrimp fried rice around 11:30 a.m., carry-out, and put it in the fridge to chill until he takes lunch at noon. So she had exactly 30-minute window of time to do what she did. There was no intention of microwaving the food. Tweet 9. I think it's 9. I've lost count. Update. So when the dude watched the video with HR, they asked, what do you want to do about it? He told them he was solely interested in who did it and that he didn't want to be responsible for someone getting fired. Next tweet. After charges were dropped, HR sent a company-wide email about not stealing people's lunches. She is scheduled to arrive at work in 20 minutes. My blood is on cocaine. So this guy's like waiting for a showdown. And again, this is an office environment, right? So this is like the most excitement you'll see all month. She has walked in the room and the room is dead silent. Dead fucking silent. Yet there's a palpable explosive energy pulsing through everyone but her. From the moment she walked in, I've been staring at her, watching her open her email, and now she clicked on the goddamn HR email. Holy fuck, strap in, here we go. This guy's a natural storyteller. I guess he's a comedian, right?
Yeah.
Tweet like 15. I can't move. I simply cannot move. Anything could happen right now. Bunch of exclamation marks. After seeing the HR email, she says out loud, "Whoa, someone stole a lunch? Who would do something like that?" Exclamation marks. I may have to run out of this room. Next tweet. After she said that, shrimp guy responds, "Well, yeah, it's not okay to throw someone's food away. We're all about to start screaming." Next tweet. "This shit's about to get crazier." After he says that, she goes, "Oh, it was your lunch?" She continues, "Well, why would you go to HR about that?" She has simultaneously denied her involvement and called the guy who saved her job a snitch. Dude just sighed and went back to work after she said what she said. She looks frighteningly calm. I'll keep updating if anything else occurs, but all I can say is that everyone in the office, from the janitor to the founder, knows what she did. She now carries an invisible scarlet letter. This is real. This is happening. We know who did it, but we don't know why. It's a post-production company, so we're in fact open today. She's been sitting 3 feet in front of me this whole time. Unbeknownst to the guy and the woman, I just ordered 3 shrimp fried rice plates for lunch and will be hand delivering them to everyone involved. She took the fried rice from me with a big smile on her face. She's eating it and loving it. This is utter ruthlessness. I love shrimp fried rice, says the thief. I wish I could close this all up with a neat little bow, but it appears that we may never know why she did it. Maybe she doesn't know she did it. Either way, I'm now forced to work 40 hours a week next to a cold-blooded individual.
Wow.
I was just so caught up in that story reading it last night, and all the points you laughed was basically like me trying to contain my laughter in bed.
Yeah.
Have you experienced anything like that?
Oh yeah, man. So my agency sends out emails all the time about this stuff. Like it's like literally saving people's lives and maintaining like lunch safety in the office. Like that's kind of like the breadth of our emails. And every Friday, there's over 200 employees like in my agency, but like every Friday it's just an alphabetical list of, so like you're on kitchen duty for that kitchen or whatever. And there's like people have to say like at 3:30 they send out an email, I'm going to go into that kitchen, and if your shit's not labeled or like, you know, don't throw out just yet, like I'm throwing it out. And then like fights happen, like you threw out my shrimp rice. It's like, well, you didn't have it labeled. I gave you the fair warning. You know this happens every Friday. And then one time, so I work at that agency, but my team of about 17 to 20 people work in a different building just down the parking lot. We're just like the 20 overflow. They can't fit in there. So we have our own little office building with our own little kitchenette. And so there was this one guy, I just won't say names, but if anyone from my work is listening to this, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's this one guy who was working there. And so this other lady, this girl I work with, she had pizza for lunch. And so we have like our sitting tables. And so typically in an office environment, if you have like leftovers from, you know, your big party the night before or whatever, you bring treats for, you know, you put it on the table and it's seen as like, it's an understanding, it's communal. What this girl did is she heated up her pizza, but put it on the water cooler to just go to the bathroom quick. The other dude walks in, sees pizza on the water cooler, grabs it, starts eating it. And she comes back, she's like, "Hey, that was my pizza." He looks at her and says, "Yeah, thanks."
Oh my God.
Walks out. "Thanks for the pizza," or something like that. And she just left like dumbfounded, like, okay, I can't really be mad at him because I guess
he interpreted it as in like I brought that pizza
as like
for people.
Yeah, but like it was like a personal serving. It's not like a whole box of pizza, which we've had. Like people have brought that, and it's like just a personal size portion of pizza left on the water cooler. And this guy grabbed it, started eating it, saw her somehow, or yeah, she said that's my pizza, and he's like, "Oh well, thanks, it's really good," or something like that. Just like missed the connection that she was trying to imply. Like that's as in my pizza right now, not my pizza I brought left over for you guys.
It's crazy to think like how
and it was warm. It was warm at that.
It's crazy to think how each like office or each employee works in an office, and each of those offices are their own little microclimates of human, like almost like an episode of Survivor, right? Like you have these 20 people that are brought together from different walks of life and are forced to survive on an island for 40 days or whatever. You guys are forced to survive in an office for 40 hours a day or a week. Sorry,
and we're like the sub because like we're not even part of that. We're actually called PCC South because we're on the south end of the parking lot. So it's like we even joke like, "Oh, it's different here in the south." Like we do things a little differently, and it's just like different environment. This guy I'm talking about, he was definitely, if you're a fan of The Office, he was definitely the Creed of our office, which
Right.
makes him even more awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
He was literally Creed.
I was gonna ask, like, I guess there's snippets of your week or month, and
Yeah.
then you'd be like, that could be an Office episode.
Yeah.
That's great.
That would have been like one of those snippets. I thoroughly enjoyed that story.
Yeah.
I will also, like, whatever day, never quit social media for stuff like that. You can't get off social media.
No.
It's amazing.
There's always a story.
Coming up after the break, Nick finds his old laptop from 15 years ago. Hey guys, Nick here. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, or wherever you're listening from. And if you're feeling extra kind, drop us a comment or a 5-star review. They go a long way to helping our little podcast grow and get noticed. Also, check us out at Dads in the Six on Instagram or Twitter, where you can keep up to date on show schedules, information, and just our general day-to-day lives. Now let's jump back into this week's episode. So I want to tell you a little bit of a story. I'll walk you through it. Walk with me for a little bit. I got to build up to where I get
Yes,
to.
just so I have no fucking idea what we're talking
All
about.
I said is, Jamie, I want to tell you a story, and I found my laptop from 15
and
years
he's told
ago.
me, okay, just for that, he's told me not to get overhyped about
Yeah,
this.
don't get too excited.
Now,
but-
we have done an episode where I didn't tell you what we were talking about. I don't know if that one's aired yet. Maybe it did, maybe it hasn't, where I went through your social media.
Yeah.
So I completely blindsided you about that.
Yeah.
This is not you returning the favor.
This is not me getting revenge just yet.
Okay.
It's super cringy for me, so I had to like think about if I wanted to even like talk about this.
Before you start, did I tell you I recently came across major cringe? I don't think I told you.
Kind of.
I know. I may have mentioned it in our friend chat on WhatsApp. I recently opened up an old Gmail account, and for whatever reason,
Oh yeah.
I think Vanessa maybe had a shitty cell phone plan back in the day where we didn't want to pay for text. Text used to cost money.
Yeah,
I think.
even just to receive them sometimes.
So I think we used to email often, or I'd wake up in the morning and she had written an email to me maybe the night before.
Lame.
My God, there's dozens,
Uh-huh.
and I will never show these to a human being.
Oh, of course.
They are
I fully understand.
they are maximum cringe.
Yeah.
And then times that by 100.
Because you're in love.
Yeah, but not Anyways,
Yeah.
that's another story.
And you're 10
That'll
years
never
ago.
be told.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So anyways, let's walk through this. So in about, I want to say grade 11, I was taking law. Law was an option. So I was taking law, and at this point, my teacher at the time, Miss Yakobachi, remember her? No?
I never had her, and
Okay.
I'm surprised I never took law.
Okay. I didn't have the greatest experiences with law. So what happened is she ended up taking like her educational, she ended up taking some sort of leave, right? Took like the year off. So we got this substitute teacher in.
Like the year just started, and then she left.
Or, I think I'm wrong. I think this was grade 12. I had her in grade 11. Sorry, you're right. I had her in grade 11. I loved her, but she wasn't like the most thorough teacher. So I felt like I didn't learn much.
I feel like when you're in the high school world, you hear myths and legends about certain teachers. And yeah, she's one that people
Like,
often
super
talked about,
easy
and I
teacher.
never got to meet
super
her.
easy, super lovely, nice lady. But I'm like, man, I actually wish you weren't, and you would have taught me something. Like it was more like, let's just have fun with this. I'm like, no, I want to learn law. Like maybe I could be a lawyer. I could have been a lawyer today. I don't know.
But she
could have ruined
She
that for
cock
me.
blocked you.
Next year, grade 12. So yeah, you're right. So I think she had ended up taking like an educational leave or something. And so what had happened is they brought in a substitute teacher for the whole year, like a contractor, I guess, to just come in and teach law. This guy comes in. This guy is like, if I remember correctly, he's from like the Netherlands. And so he's just like, I don't mean because he's from the Netherlands, he's out there, but I remember having him like that thick Dutch accent. I can't do accents, but like from Austin Powers, like that guy, like smoking a pancake sort of thing.
Okay.
So this guy comes in. He literally does not care about law. I think he was a lawyer apparently or something, but he did not care a single day about teaching us any real law.
Did it get to the point at all where anybody wanted to bring this up to like the faculty?
No, because again, you're dumb and you don't care because part of you is like,
I want to get my A and get out
I'll
of
take
here.
this bird course.
Yeah.
And law could have potentially been a semi-difficult class. So to have this like at one point, I'm not joking you, he was doing handstands because he's just like, live your life, yo.
Literal handstand?
Like literal handstands. And like, I remember him doing that once and it was just like hilarious. And so Like he would. I remember him like thrusting the air, like sex motions, like just being like yeah, and like I'm not even making this up. Like I can't remember his name, but if anyone was in a class in grade 12 law with this dude, you would remember him.
I wonder if he was like a sub for other things throughout our life at high school. Like if
No,
we,
I personally
No, you
never
never saw
remember
him?
seeing him. So this is like the first I saw him. And so this guy was just like no fucks given about like teaching us law and anything to do with it. And so at one point, he's all about creativity, and he's one of those people. Like you should be creative and express yourself and stuff like that. He's like,
Freebird.
you know what? He's like, anyone can just, if they want, write a story. And like he like emphasized like you could get like some credit or something like great. Like just he's like, do you have a story to tell? Like you should write it. Like write some sort of fiction or something. He's just like, just do it. Just like encouraged us to kind of like dick around. Like again, not do law and write. And I was like, all right.
did we write some sort of story? I don't remember.
So I ended up writing an epic trilogy novel.
I sort of remember this.
And I didn't find it, but I wish these papers were here, so I'd be like, and I got it right here.
I remember you, and I'm sorry, I don't remember at any point if I read it or not, or if you gave me snippets.
No, I might have given you snippets. I might have given
just
you
like
snippets.
proofread or something.
I
But
might
I
have
totally remember this now, like faintly.
So yeah, and I faintly remember this. This is why I wanted to find it, but I do remember a lot of the ideas that were meant. So I lie. I didn't end up writing the entire trilogy. I didn't even write the first book because eventually I got to the point I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? This guy doesn't care.
Some lawyer substitute teacher
So
told me to.
I just thought because I'm like, oh, this would be easy. But then as I started writing it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is kind of interesting. And it became like I think I must have had over close to 60, 70 pages written.
And this was fantasy, right?
This was so okay. So let me take you back now to where Nicholas, at 17 years
Used
old,
to read novels.
used to read. I used to read a lot more. And so what essentially this book was a combination of my probably two favorite things at the time, Star Wars and Final Fantasy, come together to write this. So this is where it gets cringe because you got to, again, put yourself in a like super fat 17-year-old loser kid from high school writing.
I like that kid.
I like that. I didn't hate myself, but what else was I going to do?
So this wasn't fanfic, right? It wasn't actually Star Wars characters.
No. I essentially took like
I think
parts
that's,
of it. This is actually
if
a
someone
sci-fi.
came out with that nowadays, though, it'd probably sell like hotcakes.
And this is why I was close. I was on the cusp. I think back, if I would have went a little further, this could have just been one of those teenage adult books, and that get turned into a fucking 3-picture deal. Boom, I'm cruising. I'm like, I was that close to being one of those guys. This is before Hunger Games. This is before the Maze Runners.
Now, not to say it wasn't quality, but I'm kind of happy you didn't find it because you're probably remembering it a lot better than it was.
100%. This is why it's cringe.
Yeah.
This is why I'm gonna go through the plot for you.
Right. So to fill you in a little bit here before you get started, in elementary school, do you remember a guy named Chris? There was two Christophers. There was Chris with a C and there was Chris with a D.
Yeah. D'Souza.
Yes. I love your memory.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him were writing a book.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember why or who or what. I think maybe a similar thing where you're just like, let's write a book. We wrote a couple books.
Yeah.
And I recently found one of them.
Oh yeah.
Not even kidding. My grandmother has like stashed away school projects.
You
like,
handwriting these?
Yes.
Jesus.
And it used to, so we wrote two books. Let me tell you about the first one. The first one was back in the day, back in that time, I Know What You Did Last Summer was huge and Scream was huge. So we were writing essentially like a horror killer thing where it was a group of teens and they would get killed off. We had a cast, like a cast list. We did like a table of contents of our cast list and who was alive, who was still dead. And it was weird. We didn't write it together. We would rotate chapters. So it was like a notebook like this in front of you, or like with binds. And I'd write a chapter. I'd go home and write a chapter. And it was awesome. I loved it. I'm like, I can't wait to do this. I'm going to kill this person off. And I give it back to Chris when I went to school the next day. He'd read through my chapter like, that was awesome. And then he would take over the story.
That's kind of neat.
It's cool because it was all fair game. Like
I feel like
he
that's
could kill off my favorite character and I had no control over it.
And I feel like that has to have been done at some point
Maybe.
in the world of books. But that's actually kind of a neat idea.
Yeah.
If that would have been like good. And
yeah,
done.
and I think we finished it, and I think we ended up writing like a sequel at some point. And then we graduated, and then see you later.
And then it'd be cool if you were smart enough where you could just take Jamie's chapters, and in those chapters themselves, they tell a story.
Sure.
Like if you were to, that'd been awesome.
And I think the other one was there was a movie back in the day called Anaconda.
Yeah, Jennifer Jeez, Lopez.
Yeah, so we were writing basically a ripoff of that. Like we were writing about a snake, and we finished that as well. And I remember a teacher at the time, grade 6 or 7, ended up taking our novel. We brought it to the library where Mrs. Darmento, I think she was the librarian for a time, and she was actually going to like send it into publishers and have them like look at it for like a very young teen sort of thriller thing. Never went anywhere, obviously, but I'm feeling you.
Yeah. So okay, I'm not like totally alone in terms of like the cringe. So again, I just ended up doing this, and I got far, and so. In my head, I turned this into a trilogy because I was like, everything's a trilogy, Star Wars, right? I just instantly just turned this into a trilogy. So what I did is I didn't even have like a proper working title, really. I was like, I'll get to that when I get to that. I didn't even have like proper character names. I think I named one character after you. I just named him Jamie, and so essentially plot. Let's see how I can run through this without getting too boring. But essentially the plot was, again, a youngish teenage young adult kid, because that's everyone in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
You got to understand these are my influences.
Did he have amnesia?
Sort of, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe you'll find out in the trilogy. So anyways, this kid, he's a nerd. So he goes to a comic book store or whatever, is reading about all his favorite comic books, goes home, ends up in a coma. In the book, classic. Ends in the book, I had written like he got hit by a car or something. Ends up going to the coma. Oh, sorry. Prior to that, this is how it. Watch this. So the book cold opens with like this king and like his son, which is the prince.
Oh, it's like foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing. So you'll see where I'm going with this. And so they're over kind of looking their planet, and kind of zooms out. You realize that their planet is essentially the moon of this bigger planet. And so like the prince is like, come on, like we got to do something, like they're attacking. So you clearly get the idea that the base planet, the main planet, is attacking this moon. And you go, okay, they're two different species living around each other, and the king's like very like quiet and saying like, no, wait, like there's like a prophecy sort of thing. Chosen one, right? Star Wars. So you gotta go with me here. He's like, calm down, like things will work out. It always does, sort of thing. And then, kind of zooms out, and you see on the other planet, there's like a massive army amassing, ready to attack the moon.
Put me in a time frame here, like, or a setting. Like, are these medieval characters? Are they futuristic characters? Present day?
What's Final Fantasy 7 and 8 to you?
Present day with a twist.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Present day, but for some reason they'll still use swords versus machine guns. All I'm telling you, man, this is where my head's at.
Did you have a title for this, by the way?
No, I said I didn't really have I didn't really have I think I just put like hero as the name. I'm like, I'll figure it out. So anyways, now it shoots over to like present day Earth. You're like, well, what are you doing here? Buddy, the main character, gets into a coma. He instantly wakes up on now what you'll obviously soon find out is the moon. He's there. He's like been transported there. He doesn't realize he's in a coma, or is he? And so he wakes up there, and then so he ends up meeting this kind of he lands on like this like field, which is like a forbidden zone that only the prophecy says like the hero who's is going to save them or whatever kind of show up around here or whatever. So he ends up meeting like this group, and essentially they're like the Avengers of this world. Like they all assemble. It's like 5 or 6 of them. They're like the main heroes of this moon, and essentially they're waiting for the hero to show up. They're like, there's a prophecy, we're being attacked, but they don't want to amass their army. They don't really have an army. They're like, there's a whole history.
We're waiting for this guy.
Yeah, we're waiting for this guy. Like perfect. The guards are like looking over the field, the forbidden zone. So one of the young guys, these Avengers, let's call them, shows up, picks him up, like, oh my God, you're him, like, blah, blah, you're here. Like, that's the only reason you can be here. He's like, no, man, I'm from, like...
I just read comic books.
I'm from, like, Bradstock. You know what I'm talking about. And so he starts being, like, thrusted into this role or whatever. And so, long story short, I'm not going to give you, like, details anyways. He essentially becomes... What the first book is trying to establish is he really the hero, or is he just kind of like ends up taking on this mantle and like becoming more than he needs to be? I very quickly spoil that for you in the first book because the real hero does show up. Because in my head,
ooh, dude, this is legit.
So he starts becoming like he starts like they do like there'll be like the classic montage with like cool music, and he like does
He's
a training
training,
video
yeah.
and he like gets abs and shit. And so he ends up living up. He gets into like these little like pre-fights with like the henchmen and stuff, and he starts like learning and stuff like that and getting better. And then he's got his Avengers team. The Avengers teams are like, and again, the Avengers teams all made up of Final Fantasy people. You got like the mage, you got like the tank, you got like the little thief kid, like he's fast and stuff. The thief and the hero, the guy, they develop like a strong bromance.
Nice.
They're like the two best friends, and like he's like the fun guy, and so he's like the comedic relief.
I wonder if you kind of like wrote Ready Player One.
Ooh, I don't know anything about Ready Player One.
Yeah, you're gonna watch the movie and you're gonna probably feel hints of like your own.
So they
story
stole
in it.
my idea.
Maybe.
Oh, so the cool young kid who's like who develops the bromance. So because the hero is here, I put air quotes. The moon throws like the military organization, or whatever, throws like a giant welcome party. That party gets attacked, right, by like a little scout party, and so at that point, the cool dude's girlfriend falls off the edge of the balcony. Classic. And he's like trying to save her, and like her shoulder like pops, and then she falls and stuff like that. And it's like, oh shit, she's dead, right? Like that sucks.
I'm not even kidding you. I can like some of these scenes you're describing. I applaud you for being able to remember something from elementary school.
No, high school, grade 12.
Like the detail you're remembering, and you didn't even find any material.
No.
Is awesome. And two, there's certain scenes in Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Those three specifically that I remember, and I'm playing through 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you can picture like the world, and I'm picturing your world.
Yeah.
I'm picturing this military parade, and like you setting up the chapter, and it being chapter 37, and like the military parade's happening, and it goes sideways. Like I it's almost like I'm hurt inside now, because this is a story that will never see fruition.
Never, unless I can get a 3-book deal.
But like I'm torn, because now I want to know like the conclusions, and I know you're not going to give me the whole thing.
I will to an extent. Watch. So I'm trying to go because I don't want to make this an hour and a half long podcast. So the military party happens. The girlfriend falls off the balcony. The bromance dude, the cool thief, he's like heartbroken. He's devastated, right? So he's not even helping our hero fight off the attack. He's just like, he's losing his mind. Trying to set that up. The girlfriend comes back. You'll see. And so, anyways, they fight off. They take chase or whatever. This is where it starts getting Star Wars. It goes into space. They do space battles, right? So they get into like these cool little ships, and they take off into the air. So that's where he starts learning like there's more to this. And so they take it to the skies. I don't really know where I was going with that part, why they were going to space that early. But anyways, they do. They come back. Like, shit, we got to like get our shit. I think they get their asses kicked up there and stuff. So they come back, and so the Avengers and the hero and stuff, they're all like, shit, like we need more training montage videos and stuff. And so at this point, there's tension between, remember, the prince and the king, because the king's like, hold your horses, right? And so the prince is like, no, like fuck this hero and the Avengers, like I don't believe in this, like let's just build our army and attack before they attack us and wipe us out. And so, and the king's like, no, big argument, like I'm the king, blah blah. At this point, the actual hero who was supposed to show up in this forbidden zone shows up.
Okay.
I don't know the backstory, how or why he whatever, but he shows up. He shows up ready to go. Like he knows why he's here, and he's like good to go. And so he gets arrested because like, yo, you're not allowed to be in the forbidden zone. Our hero's here. Like you're just.
Did he have a mask on?
I don't know. I could have.
I feel like you should have put a mask on him, and nobody really knows who he is. And it turns out it's the other guy from the future.
The other guy from the future.
Like the fake hero.
Oh.
From the future, he traveled back in time like Terminator style.
Oh, because I love Terminator too.
Yeah. I'm in your head.
So anyways, he shows up. He's like, this is bullshit. I'm being arrested. Boom, gets arrested. You don't hear anything else from that hero. He's just on lockdown.
Bold twist.
And he's angry about it. Long story short, the Avengers and the hero, he's fully trained. He's got a cool sword because it's Final Fantasy. So he's going to bring a sword to like a machine gun battle. So he's got like a cool sword. They fly over to the bad guy planet. So just a little side story. I don't know if I explained it well enough, right? It's a moon. They're from the moon. They're on like a planet Earth.
Like Saga.
Saga, exactly. They're from the moon. And see, I wrote this for Saga.
Yeah, you did.
And so the moon, those people got separated like 1,000 years ago. And now they're independent, but like the Earth planet's always been like, we kind of still own you though. And at this point, we need your resources because we're fucking up our planet. Classic storyline. They go to the Earth like planet. And they're like, we're going to finish this. We're going to beat like the king of that planet. We got to stop him and stop their army. And so they show up. And so they're kind of like in the last final boss room. You know, I picture like a dungeon, right? In Final Fantasy, you'd go through a dungeon, right? And so they kind of go through that. They get to the final room, big battle with like a bunch of henchmen or whatever. And this is in my head where I picture, do I kill him off? I think I do. Thief's girlfriend comes back. She didn't die, but she got picked up by the bad guys and like Winter Soldiered.
Yeah,
essentially, she got juiced up and she got like brainwashed, and now she's like working for the bad guys. So now it's just like, oh my god, it's her, right? Big twist. And so she shows up, she starts like kicking ass and stuff. I can't remember now. I think I kill off the thief because you need somebody to die.
Yes.
And they developed a nice bromance, and he dies at the hands of his ex-girlfriend.
Wow.
And this is now where in my head, I'm thinking ahead, side novel, story about her journey, getting picked up and trained and all, and leading up to this.
Yeah, that would be in the second book deal.
Not even, this is like a side story. Yeah. The second book deal, I get what you're saying. Anyways, our hero, playing fast and loose here, our hero goes, fights, kills the king. Let's just, obviously. Yeah, he did it. All right, they all fly back. I guess they're upset.
This is like the climax of the first novel.
This is the climax of the first. This all rough story takes you back. I guess they're upset because I guess I killed off the thief guy, if I remember. I think he's dead. So they lost one of their own, and they're upset. And that girlfriend, I don't know if she's still alive or not. They come back. All right, cool. Another parade. Yeah, we did it. They're like, okay, hero, you can go home now. Like,
go back to your comic
go back wherever you came from. But again, we as the audience remember, shit, he went into a coma. Like, you see that scene where at the hospital he's in a coma or whatever. So like, what is this? Like, is he just dreaming this? Is this a real world? Did his mind get transported somewhere? I don't know if I know yet.
Okay.
They kind of like push him back to the Forbidden Zone and be like, this is where you arrived. So you got to leave from here. I picture him like walking. And the final scene is the actual hero shows up and like calls out his name and being like, kind of like, I got beef with you. Like, I got arrested. You did what and that's where kind of like the story ends. So in itself, it's like its own conclusive. If my deal got canceled after that, you would still have a start to end sort of finish, but it leaves it open to be like, oh, what's part 2 about?
Right.
And so I never finished writing part 1, but I already had ideas of where I wanted to part 2 and 3 to go.
Where's that file?
I don't know, man.
That sucks.
I don't know. I looked everywhere. I thought maybe even I just a few years ago would have put it on like Dropbox. I'm like, that was like my first cloud service like 4 years ago. I'm like, maybe I put it on there, and I thought I didn't. I couldn't find it.
Now, did you have like a very quick, brief idea of where you were taking 2 and 3?
Yeah. So
you started part 1 with essentially a fucking war. Where do you go from there?
Yeah. So part 2 becomes essentially very quickly like a civil war. And so what happens is the actual hero is here, and so he like starts. Part 2 starts.
He sounds like a dick.
He is. He's kind of a dick.
Okay.
And so part 2 starts with them kind of fighting it out, and then it just kind of breaks up. And so what happens is now the prince, who never liked our hero to begin with, because he's like, F this guy, like, let's go fight. He gravitates to the actual hero and says like, yo, like, I agree, this guy sucks, but my dad, the king, is like an asshole or whatever. Like,
so now you have like a son, father.
Yeah.
And they each have like their own like.
And so, yeah, he grabs the real hero, the prince, and says like, don't worry, I'm good with the military because they like me. I wanted to send them. So like, let's just take over. So essentially part 2 becomes like, oh shit, real hero, or not real hero, fake hero, our hero, you can't leave yet. And then in my head, I visualized the climax of like our hero versus the prince and the real hero for a fight for everything. And then the Avengers and stuff are helping out. That's where I saw it, like it kind of builds to that civil war. And then part 3, I was trailing off there, but essentially I was thinking this is where I need to bring back the connection between his mind. Do I bridge this world with our world, and like they come here or they go there, or there's some sort of connection, or does he wake up and it was all a dream?
I think it's a strong story if you even cut the whole normal world coma thing. I think just being a pure fantasy story.
I played with that too. And then I was thinking, okay, So instead of a coma, how do? Because I still want to play with the idea that he's not the actual hero and that the real hero exists. So
How do you
you know? So, but again, that's plenty of time for backstory. But that's my trilogy.
Maybe someone somewhere will hear this and hire you to write this book.
Copyright me, 2018.
Or someone's just going to steal this because there's no no dibs on this whatsoever.
Just make it good, man. If you do this, make it good.
Awesome. That was very enjoyable. Thank
All
you.
right. See you next week. Dads in the Six is hosted by Jamie Campbell and me, Nicholas Mazzeo. We're produced and edited by Jamie Campbell. Our theme song is Nobody Speak by DJ Shadow and Run the Jewels. All of our other music is by Antonio Di Gregorio. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.